I don't have a flyer for it, y'all, but on Friday, because I've been waiting for Grand Chic to give me the title for Friday. But we will be on Friday, Grand Chic and I, and this Friday coming up at 7:30 Eastern. So, and I'm looking forward to when we introduce that new song, Chief.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
glad you like it. I think they'll like it. I think they'll like it. I like it. I got it on heavy rotation in my little playlists and so forth. They'll be singing it, I think. The ones that can. But yeah, we're gonna
Fire. I was like,
huh?
I couldn't even believe who you told me was singing.
Yeah, yeah. We're not gonna tell them, but it's catchy, isn't it?
As they
It is.
used to say back in the 50s and 60s, it's groovy, baby, groovy.
It is absolutely. Shout out to brother Rod's Bristol Bay. He's the bomb, as they say, he's the bomb.com when it comes to that. So when folks hear they hear the new song, they're gonna like, oh wow, yeah, you can. But I'm waiting because we're trying to do a video intro with it, so it'll be our new intro. But Sister Cynthia said, make it short. I don't want to make it short. We'll play the whole thing. I just like the whole thing, you know, you know. But it's good. It's good. I'm excited. And I know they love to hear my spiritual daughter sing. But she did that song 10 years ago. It was 2015. She sang it on the phone, and we just put it up just like it was off the like the phone recording. But this is a major upgrade as far as just having I'm not going to retire her song altogether, but I think they'll like the new one. You liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but yeah, so Grand Chic is going to be on. I just don't have a thing to put up to tell you because he didn't tell me what he wanted us to talk about, but he told me he would tell me. So sometime between now and Friday I will know, but we'll be on to talk about something. And he might even be here. So he's talking about maybe coming to Delaware. So he might even be sitting beside me like old times. He said he misses me. Chief, before we go, is there anything else you wanna tell us? Because I've been kind of running things and directing things, but tell us something that you didn't get to say that you want to say. Take out however long you want.
I don't have a lot left. Just pay attention to the solar flares and the Schumann resonance because that's where the genetic upgrades is coming from. And you be feeling funny, go check it because it might be related to you being upgraded.
I've been feeling funny lately. So what's that mean?
Look up the Schumann resonance and the solar flares. They going at it. They having a whole conversation.
So
You
we
would
shouldn't be avoiding them, right or no?
no look the universe speaking frequency. They don't use English,
Mhm.
and the frequency is measurable by man-made instruments. So you can actually see what the sun is doing and what the earth is doing in response. They having a whole two-way dialogue.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel a little different, you know what I mean? And I've been trying to figure out why I feel different, you know what I mean? Why I'm feeling certain feelings of, and maybe that's something to do with that. I don't know.
Well, I know the women gonna get the most upgrades faster than anybody else because they control mitochondria, and that's where the genetic upgrades is coming through the frequency that comes through the mitochondria.
So the solar flares, are we seeing them or just feeling them? I mean, are we literally gonna see things shoot flat in the sky, or is it just energy that is
The
just coming?
well, the Aurora Borealis or the Northern Lights and the Southern Lights
Hmm.
are going to be able to be seen in places where they're not normally seen because of the frequencies coming in. It's giving like a ripple effect, a rolling um, aura response. So you be able, they've been reporting it and filming it too. Some people been on social media filming the northern lights. But you'll be able to see that. But also, there's a whole bunch of extra planetary bodies in the solar system right now.
I mean, are they planets or are they vessels? I mean, they can't be planetary. They can't be vessels if they're planets. So things are coming into closer, or what's happening?
Well, you got to remember that we got a binary star system. When a secondary star comes through, it got a debris trail that follows it. In that debris trail are ships, planets, asteroids, meteors. It's all following that. It's in the tailwind and it's being drugged behind it, like cans on a wedding car.
Really? I know they've been talking about the potential of a couple of asteroids hitting and stuff like that.
That's why they're doing all them warnings now. We got global volcanic warnings for volcanic eruptions, which normally happens when it get closer.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. Well, okay. But not to worry, just to receive it, look it up, see what you're supposed to be doing. Maybe you should be the time for rituals and meditation or some kind of cleansing to prepare for what's happening.
If you ain't did your cleanses now, you behind, so you need to catch up. But you need your filters clean, heavy metal detox.
You know what? And yeah, so tell me what else we need, because that's a good segue to what I want to say before y'all go, because y'all like to go before I say.
And the practice grounding. The grounding helps you stabilize your inner energy.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Well, speaking of that, Chief, the
other one, that's like one bomb for about the 20 that you deserve, but I just have to say.
Look, I remember as a baby in my mother's womb.
And wait, Chief Hayes, not to interrupt you, but I want to see, people they laugh at that, but you're not the only person who has mentioned this.
It's actually more common than people think.
Yeah.
But social pressure make people suppress the memory, and it becomes a trauma now. It's no longer part of who you are as a empowerment. It's part of your traumatic experience to accept the reality. You can remember being in the womb, but scared of the ridicule of being ridiculed for remembering.
Teach. Thank you.
Yeah, it's deliberately burying part of yourself.
I interrupted
in order to fit in.
You remember your mother's womb. Can you tell us what you remember?
I remember swimming in that mug. I remember the change in the temperature when I pissed in the womb. I remember a whole lot of stuff. I remember her telling my daddy, that boy in there flipping around like a monkey, and I was doing backflips off the side of her uterus. I remember it all.
That's beautiful. I believe you, because I'm actually a doula. I'm a doula, and I also work as a midwife unofficially, because people be coming for me like, where's your this, where's your that? But a lot of people have talked about this.
Look, I remember my mama telling my daddy, talk to the baby. He said, that little motherfucker can't hear me.
See to your daddy now, how's he feel?
Well, look, that's just Pops being himself, right? And by me knowing him, it's funny to me. But because that's how you talk. He ain't he don't mean nothing.
No, he didn't.
You know what I'm saying? But some people would take it offensive because they got these fragile egos talking about they alphas.
Okay.
But they all doing beta shit.
Oh. Since you're on that, what's this phenomenon? People might say, oh, it's always like this. No, but I don't think so, because, I've been around for a while. What is this phenomenon of men and women in loving relationships, marriages, just unaliving each other over nothing? What is going on? Is it a frequency? Is
It's
it
actually taught, right? It's part of something called uncivil civil war.
mm,
The goal is done through social engineering and the society disregarding what the purpose of relationships is to attach fantasies to relationships. So you mislead the people about the purpose of the relationship, what the roles of the players in the relationship. So when the malfunction happened, you justify both parties for being the broken party in the destruction of each other.
mm,
So the woman that shoots her husband because he was abusive becomes celebrated,
mm-hmm,
right? The abusive husband who eventually kills his wife also becomes villainized by celebrating. They're celebrating him, but they're celebrating him as the villain. Long as they keep the same amount of out front in the celebration, the people can still feed the energy. It's about miseducation on purpose,
Can you
right?
can you add in though, like the Manchurian candidate stuff? Like, is there anything that there's some? I don't know. Is there some kind of the voice to skull thing going on with this happening?
Well, they do have technology that can shoot thoughts into your head,
Right.
right? That's all copyrighted technology that anybody that um, Google it, it's that easy to find. That's like that ain't even no secret no more,
Let me
right?
ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Now I be watching this on Netflix a lot, but they have this technology on Netflix. I don't know if it's real or is it out yet, but you know how they have those ear pod things that you put in
Mm-hmm.
your ear? Okay, so they have these things that they put on your temple, right? And so they playing games with them, and I've seen a couple of shows. The show is
I
called
know
Black,
exactly what you're talking about.
right? The show
Mm-hmm.
is called Black Mirror, but it's a few other shows, right? And they putting these things on their temples, and they doing insurance policies, and they put them on their temple, and they make them smell beer, and then they can see everything that happened without them even telling. They just ask them a few questions, and the next thing you know, they saw everything that happened. So you can't even lie on the insurance frauds, right? And things of that. And it's for the memory. And they playing video games, and now the video games, instead of literally your eyes roll back in your head. People are writing books now with this kind of stuff. This is the new technology with this little temple piece, right? And they going into other dimensions and all kind of stuff with just this little thing. It's not in your ear no more. It's on your temple.
Yeah.
You
Now
know?
let me tell you. Let me tell you a secret.
Okay.
That's old technology. The greatest and coldest piece of technology you ever gonna find is
Mm-hmm.
called the human body.
Talk.
It's the tech of the gods. They just coming with some man tech. The technology of mortals, but they still can't match the technology of the gods. The highest technology produced in the 3D by the gods is the human body, and they still trying to control it, where we gave the human the ability to control it without none of them devices.
I
So
understand.
now, while they trying to figure out how to get control of the device, the human body,
Mm-hmm.
the gods already gave the human control of the body and the mind.
Right. But now they
And
trying to have a mind to
right,
replace.
because they're trying to hijack you
There
and
you
keep
go.
you as a slave. That's that Matrix plug you in the back of the head situation.
Come
Because
on.
once they get people comfortable using it, they gonna forget they in 3D anyway.
Come
It's
on.
mass disassociation.
Wow.
So it's turning the higher mind off so it won't participate with the body. So they can control it as a computer program instead of it being controlled as a computer for the gods called the body. Your emotions, your navigation system. Right? And once you know how to read your navigation system, all of their technology pales in comparison to what you can do with your own mind. You can deconstruct a technology with your mind just by looking at it.
And they're trying to figure out how to live forever, how the human body does that. Can you speak to us a little bit
more? The human body was never designed to deteriorate. That's programmable.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You got something called the human aging hormone. It's a lady to show you how it works named Cynthia Kingman. She's a PhD out of the UCLA Berkeley gerontology program. The human body was designed to live eternally, but we get tired of these things. We want to look different. I want a body this year, this lifetime, where I can lift a lot of weight. But the next body, I don't want one of them big, but I want one that I can run far distances. Jumping avatars is all we call it.
Wow. Like super soldiers?
Yeah. Look, every time we jump avatars, we write a book of life.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So when we get in the avatar, how well can you live your book of life? Right? Ain't nobody here by accident. Ain't nobody here by chance.
No.
It's only those who choose to wake up and those who fight it the hardest. You know, like some people don't like to get out the bed.
Oh, yeah.
When you try to wake them up, they be ready to fight. Look, in prison, we got a rule. Don't wake nobody up because you don't know what they're going to do when they wake up.
Oh, wow. Wow. And
if you got to wake your bunkie up, you're supposed to step outside the cell.
Okay. So when you say the avatars, we're back to what we're talking about. These avatars. You heard of the string theory with Michio Kaku? Like he says, there's infinite dimensions and different realms.
Yeah, that's what the show Sliders is about.
Okay, so that is something that's actually
parallel dimensions. You can see parallel dimensions sometimes if your third eye is open. But the wavelength of a parallel universe right next to you is the outside of your light spectrum, so you can't see it. It's still there. It's still visible, but it's not visible in the light spectrum you're looking in. You have to learn how to shift your consciousness in order to see the neighboring timeline. Because the consciousness wavelength you own is designed to see the consciousness in this one timeline. But the mind has the ability, they call it being psychic, clairvoyant, to look down many different timelines to find the answer to the trajectory of the timeline you own. They call that giving you a prophecy.
Right.
It's timelines.
Like Interstellar.
Yeah. And you learn how to navigate your timeline by your mama teaching you how to navigate life. If she don't teach you correctly, you're going to make all the mistakes in the world till you figure it out. But if she teach you correctly, you might make a couple mistakes. They might be big as hell because you're not going to make no little ones.
Right.
See, so, but we always take whatever mama give us is the foundation that we build our life on. Most of us don't understand that, good or bad. And some of us came down here to be treated like shit until we get our shit together.
Did they choose that?
It's in your book of life. Right. You can't experience a reality that you didn't agree to experience. It won't exist.
Right.
So we write these books of lies, then we weave them together so we can have company while we live in it. But we all come from one central consciousness.
Yeah.
We just travel different wavelengths to get here.
And what you call I don't know if I missed you saying this before or even tonight. What is we are one with the power. What do you think of as, is there a God that is above or more powerful than you, in your opinion?
In the universal mind, all things exist.
Right.
We are just a laptop. Our short-term memory is a RAM. A long-term memory is a hard drive. Our infinite memory is the cloud, the universal consciousness.
Yes.
We all have access to it, but most of us too lazy to do what's required to access it because of the amount of focus and concentration through training yourself to do it. They come into it. We would rather try to live by somebody else's standard than make our own way. So we let other people tell us how to live our book of life instead of living the book of life that we wrote when we came. But that's also part of the conversation of, is it free will or is it predestination? Because the predestination part comes by you haphazardly following your book of life because you're still going to get to the final chapter. You're just going to do it haphazardly. But the one who chooses and applies his willpower is a straight and progressive growth. You got to start from somewhere, though.
So do you say, I want to ask you, would you say, or can you talk to me about, or us about, when you're in that, when you're outside of this material self, or okay, and you are, I guess, in between, you said jumping from avatar to avatar, are you realizing outside of self, the body, outside of flesh, oh, that's just, I could just jump from another avatar anyway. So once you're in, talk to me, like, is that particular spirit or whatever that is, that energy inside of us when we're not motivated, is it saying, well, this isn't anything anyway, I can move on?
Outside the body, we are what's called neuter gender light beings.
Yes.
Right? We have no emotions because the light is pure data. It's all information. But the wavelength of the information is feminine, a feminine wavelength. They call it wisdom. When we learn how to use it, it becomes wisdom.
Right.
Right? That's the masculine expression of it, though. The feminine expression of it is unconditional love. And that's when you connect the two, takes the highest frequency of man can reach. That's what they call your God status or your Christ mode.
I was going to say that. That's Christ.
Right. Because now you took your RAM, overrode the hard drive, and plugged straight into the universal consciousness in order to just answer the question.
I'm getting a little emotional right now from that. You hit it right there. You know, that right there. Let's stay on that, because this is the Christ mode that you said. It's the unconditional love put together with the wisdom.
Yeah.
And that unconditional love includes being humble or sacrificing, right?
Look, sacrifice is a misunderstood concept.
Talk to us about it.
Sacrifice is what you're willing to give up in order to help somebody with no return on investment. Very few people are willing to give anything up with no return on investment.
Come on. There you go.
But the side effect...
Let me ask you, that's the Christ? We're still in the Christ, right?
Yeah.
Okay, go on, because you're feeding everybody, but this is what I'm getting the chills. So
you got to get to that level, right? This understanding that a sacrifice is to be able to not always look for something when you do something good. You do it because it's who you is. You don't do it because somebody watching.
Come on.
This is my next photo op. You do it because that's who you are. And the side effect of that is you open up the channels of reciprocity. Right? Now, the reciprocity, even when you're not looking for it, brings you the gift. And then you kick in something called gratitude. Because you didn't have to pay me for it because I didn't ask you for nothing.
See. Come on.
Now, the frequency of the being is rising, but we don't have that understanding because we stuck on the money and the power.
Come on.
Instead of seeking the money and the power, seek your highest self. Your best expression of who you are is your higher self.
Yes.
If somebody asks you a question and you don't know the answer, ask yourself why. Why you don't know the answer? It is going to make you say, well, let me go find an answer.
This is beautiful.
And after you go through life of people asking you questions that you don't know the answer to, and you go seek the people who had the answer in order to understand the answer, that's called looking at it in stages and degrees. You're building yourself up, using other people's curiosity as fuel for your growth. When you get to a certain level and you see stuff that other people didn't see because they was asking you and you didn't have the answer. But now that you done went to find all of the answers that they was asking you, put it all together. When you put it all together, you give it back to the people.
And are you acting like you are God when you do that, right? You're a God when you acting that way, when you do those acts?
You're the vessel for God. You are the hands. You are the right hand. You're the tool that God used to help others because you're in your highest form.
I love it.
One of the biggest misconceptions is being misused. People will be like, oh, they was using me. Be thankful that you was useful.
Oh, wow. What about the ones who want to use you up?
That's misusing you.
Okay.
They using, if you use somebody out of context or purpose, that's misusing them.
Yes.
But if they're useful and they willing to be useful, use them. But respect that what you use because you might need it again.
That part.
But it was useful.
And what if it's because there's reciprocity going on, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
But if you offended for somebody using you, then you mad because you was useful. You gonna try to be useless.
Oh, wow. That's good. I like that. Yeah. You should be glad that you're useful.
Yeah. But just because you agreed to let somebody use you, you shouldn't feel no way about it. Because you should know where to draw the line. You ain't got to be a doormat. That thing that I will not do, and I don't care how many times you ask me, my answer's still going to be no.
I need the ball. Oh, wait, please, Chief Hayes.
No is a superpower.
Chief Hayes, I say this, and I want you to talk to us about submission. I'm an advocate for submission, but then people misunderstand. I tell the ladies, the sisters, I say, you're not a toilet, you're not a doormat, and you're not a buffet. Because it's not going to be a buffet, it's going to be a smorgasbord, right? You bring something, a potluck. So talk to us about submission. Does submission mean, really, I want you to talk to the other brothers.
Submission
to be a doormat?
I don't want no woman that's a doormat. I want my woman to be able to say, no, that don't make sense. Because if we do it that way, this is what's going to happen.
Sakina, you heard that?
Her sitting down because I told her to do it, talking about, yep, and we ride off a cliff. Because I thought I knew the map. And she got the map in her hand.
Oh, my God.
Listen,
that's
teamwork make the dream work.
Talk.
Don't misunderstand submission, meaning I agree with your plan. I'm going to follow the instructions that's going to help you to capitalize on the plan. The problem is, don't nobody got no damn plan and want somebody to bow down to their orders.
Okay.
And strong-willed people is going to rebel. That's nature. You can't take it out of nature. And a lot of women, after they've been through so much, become so strong-willed. They don't want to hear that bullshit. Excuse my language.
Wow.
They don't want to hear it. What? Tell me the plan. I don't care how much money you got. Tell me the plan. Where we gonna win at?
Because she's there to be there with him as one. If she sees it, she wants to be able to say, I think I know a better way, right? It's not putting him down, right?
Teamwork. The guy, you can't be intimidated by your woman. Her feminine emotions can tell you stuff about your plan that you can't see with your intellectual logic. Use it to your advantage. Don't be offended by it.
Right.
Ooh.
See, and that's what I like when you said that listen, I'm behind half us. But because sacrifice don't mean something gotta get killed, right? And I like when you was going into the sacrifice, because when a lot of people are doing just that, when they doing it for the vibe, right? They showing they doing the giving somebody something, and they doing it with the camera and showing that they doing something for somebody, or they making sure they tell somebody they did something for somebody, and all of that. And that's not doing something for somebody. That's doing that for you. You see,
that's when they're looking for personal glory.
Exactly. So when you give somebody the shirt off your back, it's because you're doing it for that person. You see, and so that's that sacrifice, and you're willing to do that just for that. And so
that's when the love don't have conditions attached to it.
And you wasn't looking for nothing in return. So you're dropping all kind of gems.
Yeah.
And
we learn unconditional love from mama.
Yes, and so
she don't have to suckle us.
It's a lot of men out here just in the chat just throwing it, and it was something else you said, because when they say men think logically and women think emotionally, but it was something that you said about just the condition of it all. So the way you said it is, when we think of it that in that aspect, it's just a thought process altogether. And it's not saying that women or men think emotional or logically and women think emotionally. It's just the thought of it. You see what I'm saying?
It's the nature of feminine and the nature of masculine are not the same.
No, it's not. But when you take the initiative, right, and just the condition of the thought itself, right, to say, listen, I have to put her in this perspective and make this best choice. You see what I'm saying? And so I'm a man enough to put her here, and I'm cool with myself. And that is a whole condition.
Mm-hmm.
Condition. You see what I'm saying?
And that's why I say they miseducate us about relationship roles.
You see,
because if a man learned how to capitalize on the feminine aspect of his woman, he can't be stopped. He can literally walk on water at that point.
Yes. And so we as women need to appreciate, and men, you honor that, and that's what makes it work. And so that is teamwork and making dreams working. You see what I'm saying? So for us to accept the plan and be part of a plan, right?
And a lot of the males get miseducated by listening to them guys in the street that ain't never seen a real man before.
Yeah.
They are trying to figure out how to be a real man watching women.
Come on.
Wow.
So you wonder why they so bitchy.
Talk.
They can't control their tongue because the woman ain't supposed to control her tongue. She supposed to speak up when the man falling off the track, or else he won't know.
Oh my gosh. Wait, you got to say that again, please. And then I'm going to drop a bomb. Please say it again, please. Indulge me.
I said that most of them can't control their tongue because they are acting like women who's not supposed to control their tongue because they supposed to tell the man when he falling off the path.
You know what, Chief? One of the brothers said Nepal has a sound like World War III in here. Okay, bombs, y'all. Shout out to the beautiful G. Yes, that was beautiful. So, women, why did these holy writings that are Abrahamic say, "Woman, be quiet. Woman, don't talk." Woman,
Okay, so this go back to the 18th dynasty of Egypt and what we call the priest war.
okay.
The war was between the Amun priests and the Aten priests. The Amun priests is the ones who wanted the goddess and the gods to be hidden. They didn't want the mortals to know that the gods walked among them, so they created what's called self-imprisoning spells for the priestesses of the Aten. So they take over the priesthood and they teach them the wrong conjure that puts them in what we call the Amen, the unknown state.
Okay.
The God self cannot show until you give it permission. You go from Amen to I-10. The symbol for I-10 is the sun at high noon.
Mm-hmm.
The symbol for Amun is the sun below the horizon.
Okay.
Right? So this is the dung ball, the pile of shit in the earth. It has to be dug up by the scarab.
Okay. Okay.
And rolled across the earth. In other words, the scarab represents the feminine kephra that expels the excrement in order for him to rise and become I-10. It's a blueprint, it's a star map, and it's a fairy tale, all rolled into one.
Wow.
We call it the holy drama.
The what?
The holy drama. The Abrahamic religions is the counter religions out of Babylon. To usurp the priestesses and usurp the sacerdotal seat of the sacred feminine.
Yes. Yes.
And so the origin goes back to 18th dynasty Egyptian priest wars.
Definitely. There's actually, I have an associate, well, he's an acquaintance of mine. His name is Ed Dodge. He has actually done research and everything you're saying, you just are downloading it from, let me ask you, where are you downloading this from? Are you downloading it from where? Where is this information coming into your, let's say, your consciousness, and then you're giving it to us? How does that work?
So I have a lot of past life memories.
Okay, I knew it. It's Akashic Records, right?
And so I can go to my past life memories. The hard part is I have to find something in this life that can give you as a reference from my past life memory in order for you to be able to see that I know what I'm talking about from my past life memory. So when I give people the book references, and I don't need the book references. The book references are for the people that don't know that this is my memory of past lives telling you that we eternal beings, we don't never die. Life is eternal.
Wow.
And death is just the final stage of life before transition into a new stage of life.
That's absolutely correct. And this is my passion, what you're talking about. Okay, so once, I'm just going to share a really quick story. I promise I won't take over because everybody's like, we want to hear it. I do too. But I was listening to a song because when you said something, well, I don't know if you said it like this, but something made me remember a life that I had when I was actually married to someone. He had my baby in his arms, but people were chasing me, setting me on fire in my dream because they were saying I was I guess I put it together. Maybe they thought I was a witch. The way it triggered me is as a song, but the song, every single lyric was a reminder. It reminded me of that life. I'm going to hand it over to you. That's not the only time that happened to me, though.
But what's the name of the song?
Okay, I'm going to tell you. It's Florence and the Machine, Only If for a Night. And it's like when I heard the song, I cried for, I'd say, on and off for months. Even now, I listen to that song and I know it's about my life. And the thing I remember was my husband was holding the baby. He didn't even really care. I kind of put it together that maybe he told them, and they were chasing me, setting me on fire in the drink. So what I'm getting at is it triggered that one more life, past life that I remembered was I was on, I guess it's the ziggurat. And I had touched this other girl on the shoulder, like to make her calm down. I don't know if we were being lined up to be sacrificed. So I know I had two of the memories were horrible. But the reason I'm saying that is that also was triggered not by a song, but by something I saw in a movie that had nothing. It was a children's animation movie. I don't really want to bring that one up too much. Why is that happening? Or does that happen to you?
I'm gonna give you one that happened to me. We went to New Orleans when I was, well, not to New Orleans, to Mississippi for my great grandmother's funeral when I was a little boy. And when I got down there, I had seen so much familiar stuff. And so one day I found myself sitting on the porch by myself. I'm like 7 years old, 6 years old. And I'm trying to figure out why we don't go to Granny house in this life to get the chicken and cornbread from the bowl she keep on the countertop. Because I did it in so many consecutive lifetimes. And I can't understand why we don't live in the house up the road from Big Mama house no more. Because I had done it in so many consecutive lifetimes. So I'm remembering me playing at Big Mama house. I remember being stuck behind the wraparound fences in the South. But I can't figure out for the life of me why we ain't where I'm supposed to be. And it's pissing me off. I'm a shorty. And I want to go back to Big Mama house, but my Big Mama now is in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
Right? Yeah. So now I can't tell my mama to take me to Chicago every weekend. But when Big Mama was up the street, I could just walk down to Big Mama house. In this life, I can't just walk to Big Mama house. This telling me this is my first conscious awareness that there's a severely something wrong in our community. I'm not the one that's not supposed to be able to walk up the road to Big Mama house. Something's wrong. Yeah. Big Mama not at home. She not in New Orleans where we got to come down on the raft and get off and walk up on this little island to her front door, and I can't understand why.
Wrong lifetime, right?
Wrong lifetime. This is not matching what I'm supposed to be seeing. That means something is wrong, and I got to help fix it.
Wow.
That's when I was a shorty.
How old were you around, you said?
Maybe 6 or 7.
Wow. This is, you know what? See, this part is so phenomenal. And every single thing you're saying, I absolutely relate. Because it's hard for people who haven't experienced it because they can't get to that level where, you know what they do, sadly, Chief? They say they'll have the experience and they say, oh,
that's just your imagination.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Exactly. I see you back there.
Okay, break the word imagination down.
Go ahead.
Right?
Image.
Yeah. Am I? So the image is the root word to imagination. It's something that you see. It's the image activation in the mind of a previous time. But ain't nothing new under the sun. You connected to all of your relatives that preceded you by direct descent.
And it's still that thought, ain't it?
That's still that thought. The thought is the cause of it all. And if it came from the first spark, you can trace it back only by understanding who you are. Because you are the expression that comes down in a direct line of descent. And all of this is in your mind and in your capability, but the system we were raised in tell us that that's evil to ponder those things because the idle mind is a devil's workshop.
And they call that philosophy, don't they?
Yeah.
Come on in.
That good old monotheistic religious philosophy.
Talk your talk, Rod. Come on.
But it's all designed to usurp a woman. The Jesus story is the story of Isis. Jesus is Isis in Greek, but they tell you that it was Hebrew, but before it was Hebrew, it was Greek. Yahshua mean our Savior, and our Savior has always been our mothers. Since we don't want to give your mama credit, we gonna give credit to some old stringy hair hippie. And make you follow the stringy hair hippie, and that's gonna give us control over your expression. And we gonna, as long as you put that fiat in the basket, we know that we got
you. Wow. Go ahead. No, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I said, don't let me lock this door till I get $10,000.
Oh, that's what that I think I saw that. Are you talking about that thing that's going around social media when he said lock the door?
I said it was live. He did that on live social media.
That's scary.
Yeah, you know that's kidnapping.
Yes, it's kidnapping, of course.
Unlawful restraint.
They probably said
they say they charged him. I don't know if they charged him for real, but they say they charged him with 4,100 counts of kidnapping.
Oh my gosh, that's
harboring or something.
This is so
type stuff. But we gotta have a lot of industry leaders on next. They won't be on here, but Zoom. So I want you to come and be at my launch next Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, and 5 p.m. Pacific, and actually just take down that passcode. I would love to see us pack the place out. So I'm probably gonna give away some free gifts or something. That is probably what I'm going to do with that. For Friday, we actually I don't have a flyer for it, but we will have our Living in Private class at House of Reawakening Minds. So if you've been wanting to come for our 4 Fridays, we are having it again this 4 Friday coming up. So come out. People come from all over the country for that, Chief. I was telling them I get people to come from Florida and California and everything, and people who live next door across the street won't come over to the House of Reawakening Minds. People come from around the country, but they won't come around the corner.
Well, you know what they say in the Bible: prophet is not without honor except in his own home among his own kindred.
Absolutely.
So the ones closer to you is least likely to see your light.
Yeah. Leto Turner, if you don't like the way I host, you know what? I've been doing this for a while, and you ain't got to be here on my channel. How about that? How dare you talk about I'm not a good host, and I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years. I've never seen you on here, whoever you are, and I'm saying that with a smile. I just let my folks get you. Like they can get you. Thank you for whoever said that. China Lynn, your friend, I'm talking about I don't know how to ask good questions. I talk conversationally. I when I'm friends with my guests. Yeah, huh?
If you had to explain yourself to somebody that came to your channel to watch your content, you're doing too much.
I know, but I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm just saying because it just jumped up. I'm like, how dare they? No, I'm not offended because they stupid.
Look, if you don't have no hecklers, that means you ain't doing something right. As long as you're doing something right, there's gonna be somebody trying to tell you. Remember, I told you.
Well, all she got to do is
wherever peaceful people congregate. Look, wherever people congregate, peaceful people congregate. The shit started coming in. Can't stand to see two peaceful people having a peaceful conversation. They want some drama. They want some gossip, some juicy. Let's talk about Puffy. Let's talk about Will Smith. I don't care about them people. Let them people live their life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you won't dim my shines, honey, whoever you are. I mean, you definitely don't. I think you're new because this is my style. This is who I am. And, it is who I is. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Chief, as always, for coming on. I want to put this back up again, make sure that they know.
Thanks for inviting me over here to your space to come spend this
Listen,
time with you.
it's always a privilege and an honor to have you here, because we always learn something new. I do, like I said. So, like I said, today, when you told me that he'd been in prison for Larry, who had been in prison for 52 years, I was dumbfounded. I was like, really?
Listen, here go the kicker. His co-defendant been out since the 90s, right? But Larry never killed anybody in his life. But the state case is a murder case. But they know he never killed anybody.
Mm. But they just, yeah.
COINTELPRO. If we don't understand that COINTELPRO was they changed the name to Readiness Exercise 1984, and it was exposed during the Iran-Contra trial. I'm just saying.
So I mean, why did he get 100 years? Or I guess they didn't expect him to live this long in that situation.
Well, he had been stabbed several times in prison. He got stabbed in the county jail, and then he got stabbed in prison.
I didn't know that. So they tried to take him out even in there.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, he's there for a reason. He's survived for a purpose. And somebody said 2,000 years. They gave him 2,000 years.
200.
200 years.
They sentenced 200 years in the state. In Illinois, they got anybody that have any kind of influence, and they catch them on what they call Class A. I think it's called a Class A felony, murder, armed robbery, like that. They try to give them like basketball numbers, 150 to 200, just so they know that if they don't get no relief on the appeal, they won't never get out. So they give them life, you go up for parole in 20 years. You still come up parole. Like his last parole hearing that he went to, they denied him because he was under federal indictment. Okay. So it's a whole lot of guys that they didn't want to let out now. Right.
Well, I hope his family listens to what your advice, which could you say it again so that just in case somebody's watching this in the family, they know the best way to go about?
I wouldn't go to the governor for clemency. I would have the lawyers file a special parole interview based on the sentence commutation from the president. And I would use his commutation as a letter of recommendation from the highest office in the land.
And the reason I wouldn't the governor is because he and Trump are at war.
Right. So we don't want them to use Larry for a political ping pong ball. Because that's what ended up happening. He don't like Trump, so he won't get Larry no air. Larry ain't got nothing to do with Trump.
Right.
Other than Trump giving him some relief from that trumped up federal garbage. Mm-hmm. Look at this. George Bush, Ronald Reagan, Oliver North, and I think the guy named was Poindexter was all indicted in the for the Iran-Contra. Ronald Reagan and George Bush walked clean. Oliver North I think he got a 1-year probation and a 1-day suspended sentence in jail. Now, they wasn't bringing over a key. They was bringing over tonnage. Let that sink in. And this man ain't did nothing but told all of us. He the reason why I was in there reading all them damn books. I didn't know what the hell they got me in the library reading all them damn books for. Somebody had to do it. He said we need somebody to hit the library hard, read everything in there. I'm reading cookbook recipes, reading books in the library. Just so I can make sure I don't miss nothing. Reading law books, history books, obscure history, revisionist history, mathematics, science. Reading all this stuff. I'm like, and then I get to the point, I'm like, why am I reading this? And then some messenger come along and say, you don't need the paper to get your PhD, you need the knowledge. But the only thing he ever told us is the children that's trying to do right, protect them. We don't need no more gangsters. That's Larry. We don't need no more gangsters. We need doctors, lawyers, scientists, mathematicians. This is what he's been telling us since 74. Since he got he didn't even want the position. He was forced under the threat of death to take the position. That in of itself should be enough to give you some reprieve. And Don Dirk tell the story on he was either on Vlad. He was on one of them podcasts and he told the story. He was there. And they was like, Larry, these dudes say you their leader, whether you want to be or not. You can't shirk tribal responsibility. You bring the whole tribe down on your head. But when they got you thinking that it's something other than tribal, then the government can manipulate the story. Remember Malcolm said the media will have you thinking that your worst enemy, your best friend is your worst enemy. Media manipulation is all it is.
Well, I'm glad you listened. I'm glad you listened and studied and read and absorbed all that you did and continue to do that. It's become a way of life for you.
I tell you, if I known how to be doing all this social media, I wouldn't have did it.
I know people.
I hate social media.
Some folks in the chat have said they want to get in touch with you, but I know the only way they can get in touch with you is via social media. You have a YouTube page. They can DM you in YouTube, but there's no email that you give out or any website. So you'd have to go to. And do you have an Instagram or TikTok?
Yeah, the Instagram is a SikApe. I haven't did anything on TikTok yet, but I'm thinking about moving over there because I've been shadow banned on Instagram for over a year.
Oh, really?
They had me banned on Facebook for 2 years before they let me do a live.
Wow.
So when they blocked me out of Facebook, I went over to Instagram to do my lives.
Mm-hmm. So now
then they blocked me out. Yeah. Then they blocked me out of Instagram and they forced me back to Facebook.
Well,
so I'm thinking about picking up TikTok because that's a whole nother niche.
Yeah, it is. And you got these little. I see you on TikTok sometimes, but people take, I guess, a little excerpt from your Instagram and then they put it on TikTok because that's some of those reactionary videos, and it'll be, oh, that's right. I've seen you on there, but I know it's always with somebody else making the, publishing it. So yeah.
They did some amazing stuff with the information I put out. They made AI animations and all kind of stuff.
Oh, really? Let's say Denzel. No, sorry. Rod Hayes. Yeah. So okay. We added a little 20 more minutes, and Twitter is supposed to have more freedom. They show crazy things there. So do they have videos actually? I guess you can actually go live on Twitter. Except somebody saying,
I don't know. I have a Twitter account, but I don't use that.
X or whatever it's called now. I believe it's called X.
Yeah, it's called X now.
Yeah. So yeah, yeah, check them out. As many places as you can show up, get this information out. And I know that, people will be, enhance their lives, and the knowledge will be, spell SikApe. Do whoever see it on the screen? I don't know if you're just listening, but for PayPal, if that's what you're asking, it's SIKAPE01. Yeah.
But Instagram is the SikApe with no numbers.
The THESIKHPE. I mean APE. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay.
On Facebook is just Rod Hayes.
Okay. Yeah, that one's easier. All right. So, okay. Well, listen, we're going to go. And like I told you, I'll be back on Friday with Grand Chic. And for those of you who come to my launch on Saturday, I'd love to have you there. Learn about some stuff that's going to help you feel and look better, Yeah. So I'm being the poster child for it at 70. So, okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And we are going to go. He's gone. See that, y'all? So thank you for being here. And see you on Friday with Grand Chic. How's that? Yeah, we going. Did you leave? Did you come back? Oh, I thought you left. You popped out. All right.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes. Okay. I'm not gonna make you stay up all night and talk to me for 4 hours. So you come back.
Okay,
again.
Dr. B.
You
All right.
need your
It's been a
rest.
pleasure. It's been a pleasure having a conversation with you, and we're gonna do it again when you're ready.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So